We'll get started. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about kind of setting a plan in place for 2021. Never fails. People join after I hit the record button. Okay, so I want to walk you through the process that we go through. And the way we do it isn't necessarily going to work for you, but I'm going to kind of walk you through the way we do it. Fifi's forms, which I had you print. And again, if you're just joining us and you didn't print them, they are on the Scent Warriors group page. They are in the announcements. I don't have PDFs of them. I just have the pictures, but they do print pretty good quality if you print them. There's also a couple pictures that are in the comments, and they're the bulk sample planning and the Happy Mail planner, I think, are the two that are in the comments on there. So I kind of want to walk you through the process of what we do and why we do it, because this is a business. And it's really important that if you want to build a business, you have to treat it like a business. And so, mind you, again, some of the things that we do might not be applicable to you, might not be relevant, or might not be things you want to do. And that's totally fine. But this is going to be a workshop. So as we go through this, I'm going to give you some time to work on these things as we go. It's probably not going to be enough time to come up with a complete plan, but it ought to get your mind going enough so that you have the foundation and you can continue on. I'm not 100% convinced in an hour we're going to get through all this. If we don't, I will pick it up Thursday night at the same time. Okay. But I want to kind of start. So why do we do this? As I said, this is a business, and most people who join something like Scentsy, they join for a variety of reasons, but they don't really necessarily look at it as a business up front. It can very quickly grow to be a legitimate money-making business, but if you want that, you have to treat it like a business. And so that involves some preparation, setting your mind in the right place, figuring out what you're focusing on, which is another way of saying what your goals are, right? A lot of people don't like the word goals. What you're focusing on, and really having a clear vision of what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, there's no way you're going to accomplish. Ooh, hold on. I didn't mean to remove her. Hold on. If you don't know what you're looking for, what you want out of this business, you can't, not only can you not achieve, but you don't have a basis for knowing if you're moving in the right direction. And a lot of people in this business get caught up. They get inside their own head and they get caught up in, well, if I didn't do something right, then I'm a failure. Then I suck at this and I'm horrible at this. And that's not the reality. Every business goes through ups and downs. And so your goal is to look at this as a business owner and take ownership of what worked and what didn't. And the things that didn't work, that's okay. You just don't want to keep doing them. So if you don't know what didn't work, you're probably going to keep doing it. But if you can take an honest look at the year that's just passed, you're going to be able to tell, this worked well, this didn't work well. Oh my gosh, I totally should do more of this. That's a waste of time. I don't want to do it. And so that's kind of part of the process that we go through. So as I go through this time in my business, and we're not all the way through with this process for this year. Usually we'd be a little further along than we are now, but it was a slaying December, and we're not done yet, right? And the incentive period ends this month. So it's kind of it's a perfect storm. So we're a little bit further behind of where we normally would be. But Steve and I spent a few hours today doing some hard work, writing down what worked in our business. This is Steve's handwriting. What worked in our business, what didn't work, and taking an honest look at what we liked, what didn't like, what we failed at, so that we could create a plan to move forward. We also kind of looked at what our goals are, what our focus is for the next year. And I'll walk you through some of that. As I said, mine is probably a little more complicated than some of yours is going to be. So don't let this overwhelm you. I want you to take what I share and find a way to make it work for you. Okay. My goal is always, as I go into the new year, to basically have a clear vision of what I want from that year, what I want to focus on, what I don't want to do, and kind of where I'm going. So Fifi has these great forms, okay? And we're going to kind of walk through some of them. If you didn't print them again, because we've had a bunch of people join since then, since I talked about it, they are on the Scent Warriors group page. They are in the announcements. And no, I do not have a PDF. You just have to print them. So the first thing that I do is, and I've done this for a number of years, I kind of take a look at what I want my word to be for the year. Now, my word, why do I have a word for the year? You don't have to have a word for the year, but here's why I have a word for the year. My word for the year gives me some focus and direction for where I'm going. It's something that kind of grounds me, so to speak. And it takes me a while to figure out what word really resonates with me. Fifi has a sheet in there that says 2021 word. It is important that you live out your year with your own personal theme. My word is blank. Now, if you already know your word, go ahead and put it in there. If you don't know what your focus or what your word might be, let me tell you, I don't just have one word. I usually have 3 words. I have one word that's kind of for my personal business and my life. I have one word that's the vision for my leadership. And then I have one word that's kind of the vision for my team and my group. Okay. Because sometimes I want different things from all of those. So like my word, I have narrowed down my word for our leadership, and that's synergy. So if you know what synergy means, it's the culmination of when more than one come together, you can create much more. It's momentum. We're better together, right? And we've done a really good job this year as leaders coming together and doing that, but that's something that we can continue. So my goal and my vision for our leadership is continued growth and synergy. Okay. My word for my team and my group, I'm still working on. I have it narrowed down to a couple things, but it is going to be something based on growth. I'm working with nourish, rise. I've got a couple words kind of together in my brain that are speaking to me, but I'm going to stew on them for a little bit until I know it's the right word. And when I have the right words, and then for my personal life and for my personal business, I've narrowed it down to about 4 words. One is intentional, one is focus, and it should drive my daily action. You know, I want to be intentional in how I spend my time. I want to be intentional in how I spend my money. I want to be intentional in what I do with my customers. And focus is very similar. So those are 2 that are kind of in my head. John Gordon, and you can Google how to find your word. There's a million ways you can do this. But if your word doesn't speak to you and doesn't resonate with you, you don't have the right word. Okay. John Gordon, who's one of my favorite authors, has a book that's actually called One Word. And he has a whole book dedicated. It's a very simple process that he walks you through in how to figure out what your word is. So, and he's got lots of, if you just Google John Gordon, it's Jon Gordon, he'll kind of there's lots of things out there from him that will kind of walk you through it. So once I have my word, then I do come up with some quotes, verses, things that speak to me that resonate with that word. And then I'm going to write down, why did I choose that word? Because that word is going to stick with me through the whole year. My word for our leadership last year was spark. And I really do think that we saw some major sparks in our leadership last year. The community that we built, that my word for our group, actually, not even knowing that we were going into hypergrowth, it started as culture. And then when I realized we were going into hypergrowth, I shifted it to community, because I knew that having gone through hypergrowth, the most important thing we needed as a group was culture and community. There was no way we were going to survive and thrive during hypergrowth, because I've been through it before. And there are ups and downs with hypergrowth. Like, you guys all have felt some of the growing pains that come with it. And I knew that the focus had to be on creating a positive culture and a community that people felt that they wanted to be part of. And so as we go into 2021, it's really important, and hypergrowth continues. Like, we're not out of hypergrowth. Like Orville said the other day, we are officially in hypergrowth. Um, and I know they're working on some documentation that's going to kind of share the hyper growth curve with you all. I think you're going to be mind blown when you see it. So I then want to come up with some quotes or some verses that remind me of this word, and I will have them on my computer. I will have them on my wall. I know Nikki probably with hers, because I've spent enough time with Nikki. Nikki will have them behind her desk, in her window, her blinds, right, where she looks at them all the time, because they will keep you laser focused. So that is the first thing that I kind of do. And then, which we're not going to do tonight, I like to put together some kind of a vision board or a dream board. It can be electronic. It can be actually on a cork board. It can be framed in a frame. But I like to have some kind of visualization of the goals that I want to achieve for the year. Okay. And those goals for me typically aren't business milestones. Sometimes they are. I do have one business milestone. This year we sold about $73,000 in PRV. My goal for next year is 100,000. That 100,000 PRV figure will go on there, because that is something that is a huge milestone for me, and I want to look at that every single day. Okay. But most of my goals, most of what I put on a vision board, and what I would encourage you when you're trying to figure out where you want to go the next year, most of what's going to drive you is not a number or a title. Most of what's going to drive you is actually what that number or that title will do for you. So when you're thinking, gosh, I want to promote to director, or I want to promote to star consultant, or I want to promote to superstar director, I'm going to challenge you and say, why? What is that going to do for you? And that's what if I was making your vision board, that's what I would put on there. Is it going to allow you to get out of debt? Is it going to allow you to put your child through a private school? Is it going to allow you to pay off student loans? Is it going to allow you to buy a house? What is it going to do for you? Because that's what's going to fuel you every day. A title's great to look at, but a title's just a title, right? So make sure that when you're doing this, you have visuals. Like, you want to take your kids on vacation. You want to, I don't know, you want to be able to go to Starbucks every day. Put a big old picture of a latte on that dream board, or whatever it is that's going to drive you. And you're like, gosh, or even Target. You want to be able to go to the Target dollar spot, and you want to be able to shop once a week without having to check and see, oh, gosh, I really can't spend that money today. Man, you put a big bullseye on your dream board, right? So that's the next step, which obviously we're not going to walk through tonight. If you guys want to do that in the next couple weeks, I'm happy to walk you through that. But that's going to take a little prep in advance from you. And you're going to have an idea of what you want to put on it, because otherwise we're going to be sitting here for about an hour while you think about it and make some decisions. Okay. Once I have that vision board or that dream board, I do put it multiple places. So I'm going to have it on my computer. I'm going to have it on my phone. I'm going to have it usually on my wall. I'm going to have it sometimes, like in now the house we're in now, it won't work. But years ago, I would actually put it in my closet. So when I opened my closet door, I saw it every day. Audrey Brayman, who was one of our directors years ago, she had it on so she saw it every time she walked out of her house. Every time she was walking past the garage to the garage, she saw hers. And it was motivating because she saw it every single day. And there really is power in when you see that over and over and over. It really does settle into your brain and it makes it become more real. So next thing I do, so I find my word and then I do my vision board. If you don't have your word, we're not going to sit here for an hour while you figure out your word, but I'm going to challenge you that it's one of the first things you should do. Then we take an honest look at the year we just had. I know most of you don't want to take a look at 2020 because, it was 2020, but we take a real honest look at the year we had. Now, when I'm doing that and I'm comparing it to previous years, there are obviously going to be some differences. We look at two different things. We look at our successes and failures, and we break it up into a couple different categories, and I'll walk you through them. And then we look at the finances of our business. Okay. if you do nothing else, and I've said this the past 3 Zooms we've done, I think, if you do nothing else, please set up a separate bank account for your business in 2021. Start the year with a separate bank account for your, that you only use for your, if you already have one for your business, you don't need to open up another one. But make sure that you have a separate bank account for your business. You don't want to mingle that money with family money. You're going to pay yourself, and that's a priority. But if you have one account that everything that you spend in your business is coming from at tax time, it's so much easier. Now, some of you will choose to have a rewards credit card or something like that. That's fine. But then you would only have 2 places that you would have to look when it comes time to reconcile your business finances. Okay, because your business is a business and you have to treat it like a business. And if your business grows and grows and grows, you can and should make substantial income from it. Okay, our income was up about 300,000 this year, maybe a little more than that over last year. Okay, that's a pretty significant income increase. That means I'm looking for a lot of year-end write-offs. Okay, but if I mingle that money with our, actually that may be wrong, that was not including December's commission, so it's actually higher than that. But if I mingle that money with our family finances, then it's really messy to look through and figure out what all my expenses were and what all my write-offs were. So you want to keep it clean and clear. And I wish someone early on had told me that, because there were a number of years in the beginning where I commingled my business money with my personal money, and I didn't pay myself for working my business. And when I say pay myself, I don't mean like that can be a simple transfer from your business account to your personal account, but that's a concise transaction. Okay, that's a visible transaction. So when I'm looking at how, and this is what we did today, we sat down and we took an honest look at how we spent 2020. We broke it down into 3 things. Our personal business, and that would include things like our personal sales, our personal recruiting, how we ran everything about how we ran our personal business. Okay. And what did we do well? One side of the paper is what did we do well? And this is how it starts out. It will get a little more pretty and polished. And then what did we not do well? And the bottom would be our goals. Okay. So for example, and you know, I'm a pretty open book. Our sales were the best this year that they've ever been. Right. We hit annual sales in under 3 months, probably about 2.5 months. That's never happened before. Even the year I joined, when I hit it in 6 months, I've never hit annual sales as quickly.
Yeah, because be careful.
My recruiting was up 500% over last year. Okay, that's a huge improvement for me, because recruiting used to be my strong point. It's not anymore. So that was a huge milestone for me. My VIP page is rocking. We got Facebook parties with party packs down. We have a system that is fantastic. We executed virtual scented workshops very well, and our customers love them. We were on point with customer follow-up. Our online PWS orders were up. We gained new fundraisers this year. We were very consistent with our customer mailouts. We got a consistent, solid Facebook party display, which was something that was a goal of mine this year. We did a good job managing orders for customers, kind of taking a look at what was coming, what we might need to stock up a little bit on that I foresaw maybe would go out of stock. Making sure that I reached out to my customers when there was something coming that I knew they would want. And we did a really good job extending ourselves into Jot forms and really working the pre-orders. Those are things we did really well. What did we not do well? We sucked at organizing our office. We sucked at, if I opened that closet door, you guys would die. Okay. First, like I said to Steve, we were going through the list and I said, oh, we rock organization. And he just looked at me. I was like, I'm totally kidding. It's going on the back. We need to do a better job personally reaching out to our customers using something like Project Broadcast to promote LTOs and things like customer sales. My Scentsy Club subscriptions were up. I have 9 times the number of Scentsy Club subscriptions I did last year, but that's not where I want it to be. I wanted it to be much higher. Our personal branding, we improved, but not where I wanted to. Our social media platforms are nowhere near where I wanted them to be right now. And my goal is always to have our bookkeeping on point, meaning I can pull a profit and loss statement from QuickBooks, which is literally, if you use QuickBooks, it's a press of a button and it'll tell you the state of your business. That's not possible right now. So that's an area that I sucked at. And part of that was time management, right? So I'm going to challenge you right now I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and I want you to, on a piece of paper, I want you to take an honest look. Maybe I'll give you 7. What did you do well in your personal business? And what did you suck at? And when I say suck at, I don't really mean suck at. What could you have done better? What did you not get the results that you'd hoped for? And don't feel bad about the things you didn't do well. It's a learning experience. And so if you can't take a look at that, then you can't improve it. So people get caught up in the negative. And the negative is not a bad thing. It's an indication you need to change something, or work harder at it, or find a more efficient method, or find someone to help you with it, right? You need to work smarter, not harder. So some things I would ask you, is your, and these might just, while you're writing, I'm going to kind of throw out some things to kind of trigger. Is your social circle wide enough? Meaning, are you bringing enough customers in, new customers in? Is your customer follow-up where you want it to be? Did you do a good job with that this year? Did you not do a good job? Did some things work well? Just write down what worked well, write down what didn't. Did you follow up and thank your customers? Okay. And is the method that you use to thank them sustainable, duplicatable, something you can continue? Sometimes we complicate things and we create a system that is so difficult, we simply can't do it. And so if it's taking you too much time to prepare for something, maybe that system is too complicated for you. Okay. What about, do you have a VIP page? How did you do communicating with them there? Is it growing? Are they responding? And it's not just, do they communicate on there? Because often they see things, even if they don't comment. Okay. What about how you're selling? Are you content with the ways you're selling? Perhaps you tried Facebook parties for the first time this year because you couldn't do home parties. Or perhaps you did fundraisers. Were they successful? Were they not? How are you communicating with your customers, and are you satisfied with it? And there should be some wins on this. You all have things you've done well. So if all your things go into the, no, I need to work on that category, then you need to give yourself some grace and move some of those things over. Okay. What about your personal sales? Are they where you want them to be on a monthly basis? And I want you to be realistic with yourself. But I also want you to stretch a little bit. So if you've consistently sold 500 PRV a month, maybe it's time in 2021 to stretch for 750 or 1,000. Giving yourself some grace and realizing that might not happen every month, but give yourself something to aim for. Do your customers come to you, or do you go to your customers? I know I have some customers who will reach out before I've even promoted something. And some of that's good because they've seen it on some other site and I know they're loyal to me. So they're coming to me saying, hey, I saw someone else posted this and I really want you to pre-order this for me. Great, that's fantastic. But in some cases, it's because I haven't done my job getting the information out to them. And then I want to know about your Scentsy workspace. And I realized there were many years I did not have an office. So it's not about having an office, but I want to know, are you organized? You can join the unorganized club, right? I think it was Vicky and somebody else. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Lori's like, where do you keep all your stuff? I'm like, oh, it's in that messy closet over there, right? So, you know, you don't have to have a lot of inventory, but if you're ending the year with too much inventory, then you may be stocked up a little too heavy on certain things. Okay. So I want you to use your money wisely. I don't want it to be all tied up in product. Did you step outside your comfort zone at all? And did you try new things? Like, I was stretched this year. I joined forces with it's about 18 of us that consistently collaborate, other superstar directors. And they have challenged me to step outside of my comfort zone and try new technology that I hadn't before. And they've walked me through it and how to make it easy even. So I'm going to challenge you. Have you tried new things in your business? Are you promoting the Scentsy Club? Scentsy Club, quite honestly, if you have customers that spend $30 every 1, 2, or 3 months, but not through a party, they really should be signing up for Scentsy Club. There's more perks and benefits to them signing up for Scentsy Club than not. And Scentsy Club, when I look at those stats on my workstation every month, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. $982 coming in this month that I don't have to do anything about it. Okay. And it varies, ebbs and flows. Some months, some I have, some months are a little higher, some months are a little lower based on how many customers I have. But Scentsy Club is one of my big focuses for next year. And what about your team building? Did you sponsor new people this year? Was it where you wanted to be? I'm challenging myself to sponsor 4 times as many people this upcoming year as I did this. And I was up 500% this year. Okay. But it's still not where I want to be. So that's your personal business. Now I'm going to walk you through a couple things. If you have a team or are leaders that are going to be relevant to you, and we'll go through these a little faster because I know they don't apply to everyone else. I want you to think about your team or your group and what worked well. Are you leading? And I'm going to just challenge you instead of reading through my list. Are you leading by example? Are you setting the pace for your team and your group? Because what the leader does, the team will follow. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to say, whoa, I had this much in sales this month. Somehow there is this vibe and they are connected to you and they know when you're not working your business or you are. The same with personal recruiting. As a leader, when you are on it and personally recruiting, it's like it's infectious and your team picks up their pace and they recruit too. So I'm going to challenge you. Are you setting the pace for your team? Okay. What does the culture of your team look like? Is it what you want it to be? Culture is critically important. You will have people who stay for the culture. We have people that joined at least 10 years ago, probably 11 or 12, who are hobbyists, who do 200 peer review, 1 out of every 4 months. Well, through the pandemic, they may or may not have, but they stay for the culture. They love the product, they love the company, and they stay for the culture. You know what? They have a valuable place in your business. Don't let anyone tell you they don't. They have a valuable place in your business. They will be the ones that will be with you until the very end in your business, right? And they are the ones that will help set the pace when things get hard. Okay. Did you create momentum? Are you offering some kind of training or connection? Are you working with your frontline? And I'm just throwing things out here to get your brain going. Are you sharing resources? Are you complicating this business if you're a leader? Does this business look hard or difficult? Because if you're a director and this business looks hard or difficult, why would anyone want to be you? Right? How's your onboarding? How are you doing with tackling training new team members? Because as a leader, you have other responsibilities and you're juggling other things, and that can become challenging sometimes. And how are your systems? And this goes into everyone, and I didn't mention it before, but you have good solid systems in place. And what I mean by that is there are very few things that only you can do in this business. Okay. Most things in this business could be duplicated by anyone in your family, your next door neighbor. There are certain things that only you could do. And I would challenge you that mentoring is probably one of them. You guys do not want Steve mentoring you. I can promise you that. Okay. You don't. Norma, totally true. No, you don't. No way. But almost everything else in this business is not rocket science. And so when I say, do you have duplicatable systems, I'm going to ask you, can anyone in your family, now not the 2-year-old or the 4-year-old probably, but could anyone enter a party in your family? Okay. Anyone except even Luke actually at this point can enter a party for me. All my kids can do it. Steve can do it. Anyone can enter a party. You guys, it's just a step-by-step process. It's not that complicated. You can teach that to anyone. Anyone can put together a fundraiser packet in my house, including my parents when they come visit. Okay, but that's a system. That's a step-by-step system, and they know what to do. The hard reality is tomorrow is never guaranteed for anyone, and I'm building a legacy that will carry on beyond today for my family. And so it's important that I have processes in place. So if something were to happen to me, they could pick up the pieces and keep going. Okay. It took me less than, I don't want to give you bad figures, but it took me less than probably 12 to 15 months, I would guess, this is off the top of my head, to build a 6-figure business. Okay. That business has grown and grown and grown and grown and grown and grown. That is substantial to my family. It supports my entire family. Other than Steve's retirement pay, military retirement pay, and disability pay, this is what supports our family. And so it's important to me that I have processes in place that could continue on. And those processes are super simple, right? If I can teach Luke to enter party orders, I can promise you can teach anyone, right? In fact, Luke was like, oh, is this a commission tab? Oh, tell me. And then he's like, this is performance. He's like, let me just look around on the workstation one night. He was like, what are all these zeros? And he was like, this is all you have for PRV, Mom? You know, it's like a give or take, right? Because sometimes they come up with some tough questions for you. Like, you don't have any, it's a 0 for recruits this month, Mom. Yeah, I'm working on that. Okay. So, but these are things that anyone can do. So do you have good systems in place? Because I can tell you, you could spend a couple hours once a month, and you could, by the end of next year, you could have all your systems in place. You could have, it's making a list of step-by-step how you do things. It's not that hard. You could go on a booklet, right? Could go on a binder. All right. These are some of the things that I would challenge you with. How do you do with recognition? Recognizing promotions, onboarding new team members. How do you do connecting with your frontline? If you are a leader with leaders, you know, how do you do with loving on them? How do you do with connecting with them on a regular basis? How do you do with training new leaders? These are all things that we talked about today. So you take a good, honest look, and I'm going to give you about 5 more minutes now because I want you to kind of walk through the process of the good and the bad in all aspects of your business. And I want you to do some hard work with this because it's not easy to take a good look at your business, but I want you really to, because if you don't know what you want to change, you can't change it. And when you're doing that, I want you to set some goals for where you want to be. next year. And let me step back. I don't want it to be goals for next year. I want it to be your vision for next year. You know, what does your PRV look like next year? Where do you want it to be? When we sit down next year at this time, what kind of numbers do you want to be looking at? What do you want your title to be a year from now? And if you are, I want you to remember, we're in hypergrowth. If you are a certified consultant, you could be a director next year. If you are a star consultant, you could be a star director next year. If you're a director, you could certainly be a superstar director. We're in hypergrowth. I mean, we've had people go from essential to director in 30 days. Now, is that sustainable in best case? No, but it happens, right? Then there's some backtracking to get the foundation in place. I want to know, what are your focus with your customers? When you're looking at your vision, what are you going to focus on with your customers? Are you going to focus on your VIP page? Are you really going to nail down customer care, like your follow-up with them? Are you finally going to get consistent with writing them thank yous? This doesn't have to be complicated. Pick one or two things that you want to do better at and commit to them. I don't want you to have a list of 50 things that you want to change, because if you do, you're going to be overwhelmed. You're not going to do any of them. A couple things in a couple different areas that you want to work on. Okay. And a couple things that I would challenge you on would be the recruiting, the team building. Because if you want to build a sustainable business that can support your family, that is one area that is critical. And I would challenge you that Scentsy Club is another area you should be focused on, because that is income that comes in every month, second month or third month, without a whole lot of work. Okay. I'll give you a couple minutes. Have I scared you guys off yet? No? Darn, I'll have to try harder.
Have Steve come in.
I told him, he was sitting at his desk, which is right next to mine. I said, you need to leave because you're a distraction. I said, if you don't leave, you need to come sit with me and do this with me. And earlier today, when we were discussing a couple things we were talking about, we were talking about doing some spouse events in the next few months, you know, or couples events. And he was like, Karen, I probably shouldn't say this on something. He was like, I just have a resting asshole face. And I was like,
he's so Marine Corps.
so you can still come on.
No, I meant he's so Marine Corps. Like,
Oh, he is. Yeah.
He
totally.
didn't turn it off.
Yep.
Hey, so the good thing is if he gets Botox, he won't have resting asshole face anymore.
Well,
Alex, I have Botox. And I still have it.
No, I got mine and I'm fine. Megan, it worked on Megan too. She looks happy all the time now.
Alex, I sent you
Both
a
of us,
message.
we just look like happy people.
I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you
not
something.
sure.
Hello.
So I'll give you guys another minute. Do you have the idea of how to do this part of it though? It's going to take you sitting down, and you might even want to sit down with someone else in our group, so they can ask you some challenging questions. You may want to sit down with your spouse and have them ask you some good hard questions about your business. What did you overspend on? Okay, so then the other area that we look at is we look at a business budget. And I know that's super scary to most of you, right? We do a business budget because, well, we pay quarterly taxes for one thing, but we like to take a look at where we're spending well and where we're not. Okay. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of that, but I'm going to give you some of the basics of it. This year, and my profit and loss statement, which all that means is it's a breakdown. I know that's a scary word for some people. It's a breakdown for where you spent your money this year. Okay. If you use something like QuickBooks that you can take a picture of your receipt, you push one button and it'll give you your profit and loss statement. It'll import, if you use a business, well, even if you use a personal checking account or a credit card, you link them to QuickBooks. And then all of your transactions on there, you can choose, if you do the self-employed version, business and what category or personal. And then it's going to break this all up for you. And you can work it so that every time you have a, I don't know, every time you have a pirate ship charge, that it automatically classifies that as postage or shipping. So it'll automatically categorize all of those things. And so that at the end of the year, which I will go into pirate ship and calculate, we have a couple more things to ship out, so I haven't yet. But you can look at any point and see how much you've spent on postage, for example. Okay, so why do you want to have a good business budget? First of all, you want to make money, not lose money. Okay. It does cost some money to run a business. And that's why I'm going to tell you, you really want a business checking account or a credit card that you use for your business. If you are just dumping your commission into your personal account every month, you're not treating it like a business. You guys, even Heidi and Orville, with the exception of if they're testing a product, they buy their own wax. They own the company. They still pay for their own wax. Orville's like, that would be stealing from Scentsy if we just took wax, right? Now, you certainly can have an allowance for demo product. Anything that you've used back here, these are my demo warmers. I'm going to write those off. What I do with them when they come off the display is up to me, right? So I might choose to put them in my house, but that's demo product. That's a legitimate write-off. But you want to be able to see where you're spending your money and where it made sense. If you did customer, and let me also give you the caveat that sometimes it takes time to see a return on investment. So if you do something for 1 month and you don't see a return on investment, you shouldn't quit doing it. But if you've done something, if you've mailed out a monthly mailer to your customers for 12 months and no one has bought anything, it's probably not a really good return on investment. Now, they don't have to have just bought what you sent them. Maybe they didn't buy the sample of the month. Maybe that was just a trigger point for them. That was just a touch point. And they were like, oh gosh, I need more light bulbs and I need more wax and I want this 6-pack or I need a baby gift or whatever. So it isn't necessarily, oh, I sent out the warmer of the month samples or the scent of the month samples and no one bought the scent of the month. Okay. But if you don't see a return on investment, then you either need to stop what you're doing or you need to change it. Because none of us want you to waste any money, right? Your money is valuable and your time is valuable. And if you're not, this is why we do this. If what you're doing isn't working, we need to figure out how to change it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So I never would have tried gift basketing. That's what I'm going to call it. That's probably not proper English. If Amy hadn't done that amazing 2.5-hour training for us, right? But I had all of these last minute orders for gift baskets and they would call me and they'd be like, hey, can you do a $180 gift basket? Well, you bet I can, but that brought in a lot of In fact, I had shut down for good, and then I had someone order 2 gift baskets that needed to be delivered on the 23rd. Actually, the 24th, but I delivered them on the 23rd. And I'm like, yes, I will do it, because I didn't want to turn down the money, and she's a really good customer, right? So, and she's going to join, and she's so excited that her mom and her kids are laying out a plan to work their business. So I was totally not going to turn down that sale. So, but that was a new area for me. Now, if I invested a lot of money in supplies from Nashville Wraps and I didn't do any gift baskets, that would be one thing. That maybe then I would have to take a look and say, well, did I market them? Did I market them well? Is it a me issue, or is it something my customers don't want? If it's a me issue, then I need to change what I'm doing. If it's just not something that appeals to my customers, that's one thing too. So you want to take a look at your business finances. When I'm setting a business budget, I typically look at how I spent my money the past 2 years. I would never look at how I spent my money just in 2020, because 2020 was an anomaly by all practice, unless you joined in 2020, right? But if I looked at just 2020 and I was planning my 2021 budget, I would put no money into event travel, right? But that's because everything was canceled in 2020. So I'm going to look at what I spent in 2019, and I'm going to use that figure. We take a look at areas that we want to, for example, one of the things that we really are going to put, I'm hoping the world will open up a little more by fall. I'm hoping, the vaccine numbers will be a little higher. And so one of my focuses is going to be a real push on fall fundraisers. That's an area that's really important to our business. It's been a key or a niche in our business since the beginning. And I'm going to ramp that up big time, assuming the world is back open. And so I'm going to make sure that I have a bigger budget allotment for supplies for that for this next year, because that's an area I really want to work on. I also really want to work on making my Scentsy Club VIPs feel special. And so every single month when and I'm not suggesting you do this, I'm just telling you this is how I'm spending my money. Every single month when one of my Scentsy Club VIPs places an order, they're going to get something special from me. So all of my January Scentsy Club VIPs are going to get something. In February, they're all going to get something else. Yes, it's like kind of fear of missing out, right? And I will have some that will join just for that reason, because they'll have heard that, Julie got this. I don't do a lot of personal specials. And so my money goes more towards those things. Yeah. So Angel, for those of you that are just starting out, I want you to take a good look at where you want your focus to be in your business. One of the main things is going to be expanding your customer base. The area that new consultants get stuck the most is they don't know what to do when they run out of family and friends. The same customers will only buy so much, so many times. And so you have to stretch and reach beyond that. In a COVID world, we're a little more limited. So first thing I would challenge you to go to my YouTube channel. It's Karen Fettis. If you just Google Karen Fettis YouTube, it'll come up. I have a expand your circle training, and it will walk you through a very easy process of how to figure out how to expand your social circle. I told Steve the other day, I said, okay, it's time to join some of the Wounded Warrior groups. So he's combat injured. It's something that, he doesn't talk a lot about and doesn't join a lot. I said, but, and not just from a business perspective, he needs that right now too. But that's a community that we're kind of missing. That's a community that he needs to be a part of. But that's a community also, like I'm on the Caregivers of Wounded Warriors Facebook page and that kind of thing. I don't promote my business on there, but I need to always be building relationships personally and professionally. On those things, I'm not going to get on and say, hey, want to buy some Scentsy? But, I'm going to build relationships naturally and organically with people. I will help them. They will help me. And over the course of time, Scentsy will come up because that's life. Scentsy's a really valid part of my life. And so things like that. So I am putting a little more of my money in this next year into, there's a women's club on Hilton Head. I'm going to join the women's club. There is, I'm going to join the Chamber of Commerce. I haven't done that. It's a really, really great way. And it's sometimes pricey depending upon your chamber. I'm going to join Rotary. The Rotary is really fantastic on this island, and I'm going to join that. So you're going to want to find some ways to spread yourself wider. And so maybe you want to put a little bit of money this year towards that. I'm not a huge fan of personal specials. I know some of you live by them and love them. In my opinion, personal specials don't breed loyalty. I want loyal customers, not customers who want the best deal always. So I'm not a huge fan of the personal special. I will do it for my customers a couple times a year, but I'm not trying to solicit new business with that. I'm trying to promote to my current customers. And so I make sure that I'm spending some money on customer care. When the new catalog comes out, if we have a new product, or if we have a new fragrance in a product, I will buy a couple of them and I will send them to my customers. And ask them for their feedback. They're like, my preferential VIPs. They feel really special getting a full-size product of something. And all I want to know is, did they like it? Did they not like it? What did they like about it? What didn't they like about it? So I spend my money on things like that. I also will spend a little more money next year on things like Project Broadcast. I'm going to go to communicating by text message with my customers. I'm going to work on my Facebook page, my Facebook group with them. But I'm also going to go to more text messaging. And I do have a Project Broadcast account, but it's going to be a bigger focus for my customer communication. And so that's going to cost a little bit more money. So my budget for advertising in that area is going to go up a little bit. Okay. I definitely think there is value in the paid version of Canva. So that's something that I will make sure that I do, whereas I'm going to drop some of the other apps that I'm not using very much. So we just take a look at every single thing we're doing. How much did I use Photify? How much did I use Photoshop? How much did I use Amy? Like, I'm not getting rid of Amy, don't worry. How much did I use these different things? And am I getting the return on investment for what they cost? And I don't mean it costs $10 a month. I mean, it costs $120 a year. Right? So is there a better way I could spend that $120? So I don't know if that helps you any, Angel, or not, but I would kind of take a look at that kind of stuff. Once I've done that and we've taken a good look, then we have an idea of where we're going in our business. And so then I'm going to look at things like Happy Mail Planner. Okay. And the bulk sample planner. And I want to spend a few minutes on these. We're going to go a little over. So I'm willing to go about 20 minutes over tonight. And then we will probably jump to Thursday if we need to. We could do Wednesday, I guess. Would you guys in the chat tell me if you'd prefer Wednesday or Thursday? Don't tell me either. Amy, you're like the lone wolf on Thursday, I think.
You should put that poll.
Okay, I could do that. Hold on, because I do love polling. Hold on. 1 sec.
Karen, are we still gonna do like Taco Tuesday and
Not this week. Nope.
No, I don't mean like this week. I mean like after the new year.
Yes, we are making a couple changes. We are going, our Leaders Lounge, which is on Monday nights for our leaders. We are going to incorporate some other groups in on a trial basis for a couple of weeks and see how it goes, because some of them have really good ideas that I'd like you guys to have some interaction on. And then Work It Wednesday, we're only going to do the evening edition. We're not going to do the daytime edition because it's just too much. That gives me a minimum of 5 Zooms on Wednesday, and it's just too much. Let's see. Oh, this isn't.
Mine Thursday is New Year's Eve too, so a lot of.
Oh yeah, we're doing Wednesday. We're not doing New Year's Eve.
Okay.
Add a question. it will not, oh, edit, hold on. Okay, so that's a done deal. We're doing Wednesday. We're not doing New Year's Eve. Never mind, we'll do Wednesday. Okay. So
There was a question that said, how do you work your business without spending money at first? They
Yep.
don't have the money to spend right now.
sure. So there are a lot of things. Yeah. So in the beginning, I didn't have a lot of money to spend. I organically reached out I started with my friends and my family, and I did parties. I used the host rewards. I also collected orders. Things that I collected as orders, I used the host rewards to build a better display for myself. Now, that was in a non-COVID world. That was when people actually did home parties. But even so, if you have a few more things to show them, that's better. Even in a virtual Facebook party. Facebook parties are free, right? There's no cost to that. It's not who you know. It's not your friends, but it's who they know. And if you are, the problem is people aren't willing to step outside of their comfort zone 99% of the time. If you will have good conversations with your friends, families, and customers, and ask them to do a Facebook party, ask them, and you don't have to use the word party, to do that kind of thing, the results are pretty good. And the goal is, if you just keep booking from those bookings, then you will grow a wider business. And people are doing that right now. Still, people are very successfully booking parties from parties. Okay, Heather Gorsuch, I mean, she does a party, she books 5 parties from it. From each of those parties, she books 5 parties. From those parties, she books 3. All of a sudden, she's got 45 parties on her calendar, and she doesn't even have time for them. Some nights she's doing 3 parties. Okay, but that doesn't cost anything. That's free on Facebook. If you want to offer a perk to your host, then you offer them an extra half price item. There is that perpetual reward. There's that extra half price item with every party. You don't have to offer them anything out of your pocket. But if you want to offer them a perk to join, or not to join, sorry, a perk to host, then that's what you offer them. Okay. Social media is free, right? If you consistently are sharing what you're doing on social media and how you're using Scentsy in your life, that has a huge impact. People don't want you to be like, oh, hey, look at these pods. They're $10 and they come in, I don't even know, 17 fragrances. It's more than that, and this is how they work. No, they want to see this in action in your house. So there are some really great, and we've talked about them before. There are some people that do social media really well. I'm not one of them. You don't want to follow me, but you can. Danny Schwepp does, who's Blue Cottage Mommy. Danny Schwepp does a great job. Stacy Behringer does a good job. Chelsea does a good job. Chelsea Otto. Jill McCarthy does a really great job. Rachel Pence does a fantastic job. She's the Homestead. I can't remember. It's RACHELEPENCE. She does a fantastic job. There are a whole bunch of them. Maggie Hensley does a great job. There are a ton of them.
Rachel is the Wickless Homestead.
The Wickless Homestead. Yep. So, and she's one of my favorite people too. I just adore her. So there are lots of people that you can just start watching how they're doing things. They aren't spending money. These aren't people that are doing click ads or, search engine optimization. These are people that are organically growing their business with social media. Hey, Chris. Okay. So does that help? I hope that helps a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so we'll do Wednesday night, but let's see if we can get through a little bit of this. So one of the things that we do in our business is we plan things. And I remember Alex saying, you plan 6 months out? We plan things 3 to 6 months out. Perfect world, 6 months out. We plan a few different things. We plan what we do for our team, and we plan what we do for our customers. Now, having said that, I don't mean necessarily all the specifics, right? The new catalog will post on the 1st. And so on the 1st, we can make some better decisions about some of the specifics. But I'm going to take this Happy Mail planner. Okay. And these are the categories that I focus on. Customers. So, and that my customers would be, what am I going to do in my monthly mail out? Okay. So in my monthly mail out, I always do a newsletter. And some of you don't mail out to your customers, and that's fine. You don't have to. I'm not telling you what I do is what you should do. I'm just telling you how I walk through the process. So I always include a newsletter. Now, I'm not original. I steal Heather Gorsuch's newsletter every month I possibly can. If she hasn't done one, then I usually convince Hannah Hall to create one, and I steal hers. Otherwise, I ask Nikki, who has usually created one with Tiffany, right? And then I steal theirs. Okay, so focus on what you're good at, right? Newsletters, I am not good at. That would take me all day to create. So we have people who are really great at that and really generous at sharing. So I include that. I put my information on it because usually they offer a generic version. I typically post them when I see them. I always do the scent of the month sample. And then I'm gonna focus on whatever else is going on. So in January, for example, 10% off bars. I'm going to focus on that. And I'm going to focus on the discontinued list. So February is a new catalog. So I'm going to either mail out catalogs or showcase brochures or product lists to my customers based on where they fit in my customer rankings.
Are we talking about January? Or are we talking about February? Sorry.
February 1st. January
Okay.
is a discontinued list, 10% off bars, and the warmer and scent of the month. Okay. February is a new catalog. So I'm going to focus on the new catalog, the scent of the month, and if we have a collection like a Valentine's Day collection. Last year we had a Valentine's Day collection. I don't know if we'll have one this year, but I would include that in there.
So we're doing each of these. Can you see this? This is January, this is February, this,
March,
got you,
April, May, June.
got you. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So quick question. So January, you're mailing out the newsletter, center of the month, blah, blah, blah. February, you're mailing out this. Are you mailing out to the same customers every month? And they get something every month from you?
I do.
And
I mail out 200 every month.
So how do you determine?
I don't, some people do the 3 months and you're out. I don't. I have customers that I know sometimes buy only certain times of the year. So I'm not going to kick them out. I've had people join because they've said, I had someone a few years ago and she was like, I hope it's okay. I just joined under you. I hope that's okay. Every month I get a postcard or a newsletter from you. And I finally just decided I should join. I hope that's okay. I should have asked first. Oh yeah, that's good. We're good. Okay. So it's a touch point for me. So I'm going to go through and we will take a look at our list. We'll take a good, we update our customer list all the time, but I will add in anyone who ordered in December and take a kind of look at, hey, did any of these people not order? Because I'll be over 200. And some people I will probably knock off. I'll have some people, I've had some people this fall that joined. So they've come off and their family members that used to buy from me have come off too. Or their best friend who used to buy from me has come off because I want to respect the fact that that's their customer and not mine. And so I'll do that to the best of my ability. Now, sometimes I don't know that was so-and-so's great aunt that used to buy from me, but I'll do that to the best of my ability. I don't recommend that you mail out to 200 people. I would say figure out what your budget is and stick to your budget. If your budget is to mail to 10 customers a month or 20 customers a month, then do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. I do get a really good return on investment from my customer mailouts. I know everyone doesn't. Aspen Calhoun tracked a couple years ago, she's one of my friends who's superstar director. She tracked her return on her investment. She had gone from no customer mailouts to consistently mailing out to her customers. And she had like 840, okay, I'm paraphrasing because that's probably isn't the exact number, like 845 more orders the following year than she did the previous year. And she attributed that to her mailouts. And it wasn't necessarily that they loved what they got, but it's the fact that it's a touch point. It's a whole reason we have LTOs. LTOs aren't just to get a specific product in front of them. It's to give you an opportunity to connect with them and to touch base with your customers, right? Who are you to judge if it's the right product for them? You're not. Unless they point blank told you, don't ever contact me about a Star Wars product. But it's a touch point when we have an LTO, and it gives you a chance to connect with your customers. That's what a customer mailing is. Okay. And we talked about that a little bit before. So Randy says she does 3 months, and if they don't buy, they drop off. Would it be a better investment to keep everyone? That's it. You could do a trial run of it and see. I know some people who swear by the 3 months and you're gone. And some of them send postcards at the 3rd month that says, oh no, please don't go. So that's up to you. If I'm going to give you my perspective, and my perspective is very different. And Shannon, no, I haven't looked for a January newsletter yet, to be honest. But I know my customers, and I know their selling or their purchasing history. So I know I have some customers that won't. I can tell you that if I were a customer, and this is just my perspective, I know a lot of people feel otherwise, so I don't want to offend any of you. But if I got something that said, you haven't ordered in 3 months, so I'm no longer going to send you my marketing sample where I'm trying to get you to purchase from me because you haven't been a good enough customer, I would be like, well, I want to buy from you anyways. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like that monthly mail out, you're marketing to them. You're promoting something to them. It's not always a freebie. It's a felt sample probably, right? That's not like, oh, I got a felt sample. But some people swear by it. And some people that, oh no, please don't go. Their customers are like, ooh, I want to keep getting this every month. So I'm going to order. Some people have great success with that. So how do I determine, Barbara, who I include in the mailings? I will go through and I will go most recent down 200. Okay. But then I will take a look within those 200 and, oh, so-and-so joined and 6 of these customers belong to her. So those 6 are coming out. Okay. I will look, oh gosh, I know that Linda Heifner only orders once a year, but she is 87 years old and she loves getting my customer mail out. She sends me Christmas gifts, right? She's going to get it every single month just because I know it brings her joy, right? I know that, do you know what I'm saying? I'm going to take a look, and that's part of building relationships with your customers. Like the more you know your customers, the more you know. You also might be able to, if you've really built good relationships with your customers, you're going to know if they're going to hate something, don't send it to them, right? If I've got someone who has no kids and has no grandkids, maybe they can't have kids. I'm not going to send them all the kid stuff because I know that actually might upset them a little bit if that's what they're getting from me on a regular basis. So a lot of it is relationship building. So, but, and I hope I didn't offend anyone with the 3 month, please don't go. That's just my perspective on it, because any of these mail outs, any of this happy mail we do, unless it's a customer thank you, that's a full product like a Scent Circle, anything else we do, we're advertising. That's the reality of it. I'm sending you a free sample this month so that you can smell it and decide you like it and decide that you want to buy. Oh, I'm not going to send that to you anymore because, you know, you're not a good enough customer. So, okay. So I'm going to go through and figure out what I'm going to do for my customers every month. Now, when I get to
different than your PWS orders, right? This is just standard.
That's customer. That's my customer mail out.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna work on,
Like,
What?
when do you send it? Like, cause we don't know all the specials, like
Right.
right off the bat all the time, so.
so my goal, when we have a hot, and I failed this time, it is not going out in time for the first. But my goal, especially when we have big mail outs or big warmers of the month, my goal is to have that in their hand the weekend before or a few days before that warmer of the month goes live. Okay, so that's always my goal. Now, I actually think these warmers of the month are going to be crazy popular, but this is going to be an email contact out because I was not organized enough to get that done. And I didn't, there are some months. How can we get on the borrow list from Heather or Karen for the newsletter? I try to post them on our group page. We also usually share them during Work It Wednesday. I'm not sure Heather has done one yet. I will go look, but usually we do. Usually I try to post them, or we have a conversation about them at least. She usually does a generic one and then her personalized one. So, and Hannah Hall did a generic one, but it is focused almost solely on the warmer of the month. So I don't know if you'd want to mail it on the 28th, because I really do think some of these might go that quickly. By the way, there is no queue on the 1st, just so you guys, I don't know if you guys saw that or not, there is no queuing on the 1st. So that's always my goal. Some months in the fall, for example, when we have the harvest brochures and that kind of thing, sometimes I will send a second mail out when I know we have other promotions that are coming. But those are times that I've specifically budgeted for. So those are times that I think I'm going to get enough return on investment from sending out a second mailing. Okay, so if it's a holiday or harvest or something that's super expensive. Thank you, Nikki, by the way. See, Nikki's always my go-to too. Her work is pretty darn good. So, but I have to know that I'm going to have enough return on investment to do that. I always try to also do, I want it to fit in an envelope. I don't want to have to put in a padded mailer if it's my customer mail out. The exception being December. December, I don't do a newsletter. December, I do a thank you card. I do a holiday card for all of my customers, and I put a coupon in. And then for a certain, for my VIP customers, I actually send them my theme was snow. We're snow grateful for your business. And so I sent them snow products like I'm snow over it, very snowy spruce, that kind of thing. And that was all right off for me. So, but I budgeted for that because I don't do personal specials for the most part. So I go through and I'm going to get an idea in my head about what I want to do for my customer mail out. It's pretty similar. And then I've got my VIPs. What am I going to do for my VIPs? And for that, it's not necessarily happy mail, but am I going to do anything fun on my VIP page? Am I going to, that might involve happy mail? Am I going to do any contests on there? Am I going to do any engagement type activities that might include a mail out where there could be some prizes? And so in January, I typically aim for things that are like clean products, because January is kind of an awkward, weird time. Not ready for spring yet, but we're closing out the winter catalog now. Everyone kind of gets through the holiday rush and they have this desire to be organized and to clean things. And so I always focus in January on clean stuff. And so we'll do things like counter clean samples. We'll do things like dish soap samples. We'll do things like Scentsy Fresh. And we make those all in bulk. Okay. And so I will do like a freebie Friday. First 10 people to text me with their name and address on my VIP page, I'm going to send them a sample. There's no activity required other than them texting me. I'm not requiring a purchase. And they're going to get my samples. Now, I might have their address, but for the sake of ease, I'm still asking them to text me all of their information, just so I don't have to go back and look it up. And, oh, I think this is Julie Smith, but I'm not really sure. And I don't really want to, mess it up. How do I make my coupons? So we made our coupons on Canva, very simple. We just used a Canva template that had a snowman on it. And you know, we were offering a free bar, and we had no strings attached to it, although there's only been a couple times ever that people have redeemed it without purchasing other things, but they could. That, I mean, I'm willing to take the loss for that because I've budgeted for that. But typically they're going to come back and be, oh, by the way, I also need some light bulbs, and hey, I need a Christmas, I need a birthday gift, or I need this, or I need that, whatever the case may be. And then the important things to put on a coupon would be that it's only redeemable through you, and how to reach you. And I always put an expiration date. Okay.
So Karen,
Yeah.
I did something that went over really well, and I don't know if it, but what happened was I had one of those guessing games, you know, where they put, I don't know, the candy canes and whatever. Yeah. And of course I said, so the closest one's going to get some Happy Mail. Well, that always gets tons of engagement on my page. And so anyway, I announced that I was going to do a Facebook Live to say who the winner was. And so I did it. And what I did was I did like an Oprah moment.
Ooh.
Everybody who guessed it was like, you get Happy Mail and you get Happy Mail.
Oh, I like that.
Everybody was, and so I had stocked up on scent circles for months. And everybody got Happy Mail. And they were like, what? I get it. You know, no, my guess wasn't even close, but who cares? No. So it's just about, for me, it's about giving back to them in
Absolutely.
some little way that they're not expecting.
Yep. So, you know, Disney does that really well. They call them magical moments, just an opportunity to create some joy, right? And that's exactly what you did. You just brought some happiness to them. And for someone who's starting out who doesn't have a budget for that, you know, if you're collecting customer orders, you can order that with your free and your half price, right? So you can stock up on that over time. And, you know, if you're collecting orders from customers and you have no hostess, okay, well, if you get a 500 PRV party, you got $75 in free. And so you could get a lot of scent circles for that, right? So, okay, so VIP. So on the second line, I'm going to kind of figure out what my focus is for my VIPs. I intentionally mix up my focus for my VIPs. What I'm doing this month for them, I'm not doing next month for them. Okay, I want to create a culture that's sticky. And when I say sticky, I mean, I want them to keep wanting to come back. I want them to be drawn in what's next. Okay, so I want it to be sticky. So I'm going to go a little bit later. If you guys have to hang up, I totally get it. I am recording this. But I'd like to get through this sheet. So I'm going to mix it up. So it's going to be clean products in January. February is going to be some little kisses from the new catalog. I might, you know, over the period of the course of the month, maybe it'll be a bar, 2 bars, 3 bars, or 6 bars that will go to my VIPs. Not 6 bars to one person, but maybe, you know, this week so-and-so did this. And so I'm going to send them a bar or something new. Okay. And I always have a little leftover stock from the season before. So if there is something that's come back, I'm going to get rid of those bars first. If I don't know, if pick something from the spring, summer last year, you know, that I may still have that isn't a personal favorite of mine, but people love, that may be the bar that goes out, because I'd like to get that off my shelf because it's maybe 9 months old. Okay. So I'm going to do that process for my VIPs, and I'm going to plan it out 3 to 6 months. Now you can change these things, but the idea is you want to mix it up. Anytime I'm talking about my customers, my VIP, my PWS orders, or my club, my goal is to expose them to new things that they wouldn't necessarily try. Okay. So if I'm giving them the same thing every single month, they're not trying anything new. So I'm going to skip team and group for a minute because I know that doesn't apply to everyone. I'm going to go to PWS orders. Now, PWS orders, what am I going to do and that would be my thank you for my PWS orders. Now, my standard go-to for a long time was the scent circle. Why? Because number one, everyone was doing it. And so I thought it was the thing to do. And number two, it's flat and easy to mail and inexpensive. And again, I can get 6 of them for free, or for half price very inexpensively, and they weigh almost nothing to mail, and they fit nicely in a long envelope. Okay, so, and I know a lot of top leaders who do that. Steffi Marlborough, every single month her customers get scent circles, and they love it. They never have to buy. Some of them will buy every single month so they get a new scent circle, and that strategy works really well for her. Okay. My customers, some of them love scent circles, some of them don't. And so that doesn't necessarily motivate them to buy scent circles. Okay. Or to keep buying from me. So I did that for a long time. Now I kind of mix it up. Carol Bishop, the bishop, if you know her, does 3 levels of customer thank you packets, and she makes them up in bulk every month. If you've spent, I'm gonna guess, I should have asked her earlier today. If you spent $25 or less, you get this packet. If you spent, say, 25 to, I think she does 0 to 50, 50 to 100. If you spent more than 100, then the more you spend, the bigger your bundle is of what you're going to get as your thank you. Basically, she's rewarding you. The more you spend, the more you get. And for the most part, now she will throw some full-size products in sometimes, like a bar maybe, but for the most part, she's doing what I would call deluxe size samples. So samples a little larger than what you normally would get. Samples that you could actually use and do something with. So maybe it's a 10 milliliter sample of counter clean. You can clean actually your counters 3 or 4 or 5 times for 10 milliliters. Okay, so that's a usable sample. Maybe it's a 6 milliliter fragrance mist. That's big enough that you can put it in your purse and you can use it over and over again. Typically, I send 2 milliliter samples of that, a fragrance mist. So that's something a little bigger. So she does that, but she mixes it up every month and she makes them up in bulk. And that's what you get. So what you do for your thank yous is totally up to you, totally within your budget. And you quite honestly don't have to send them anything. Okay. A thank you in itself, if you are just starting out, a thank you in itself, a handwritten thank you goes a really long way. But if you've got the budget, Amy, what the heck are they doing?
So, we're finishing quarantine, and one of Caroline's friends tested positive too last week. So she has been quarantining with us since Wednesday, so she don't get her grandparents sick. And Caroline's been listening, and so is Nola, and they're like, "Oh, that's your big wig," and then they're like, "We're going to provide entertainment." So now they're like sucking, what you call that? Whipped cream, and doing this and trying to catch it. And yeah, so
Yeah, I saw
sorry.
that TikTok.
Yeah. And then they're jumping across the back of the, we're not doing that. They did some dance moves. Yeah. So I'm sorry.
No, you don't need to be sorry. I was just curious what they were doing. Okay, so what you do for your PWS orders is totally up to you and totally should be within your budget. I never want you to overextend yourself or feel like because I do something or Vicky does something or Nikki does something or April does something that you should do it. Okay. And if you are doing something and you aren't getting a good return on investment, now if you're doing a scent circle every month, I'm going to challenge you and ask you, how do you know you're getting a good return on investment? If you have customers that order every single month and they get a scent circle every single month, you're never going to know if they bought that scent circle. If they're never going to need to buy a scent circle from you. So you're not going to necessarily know if that's paying off, if that's, so the question then becomes, is this a gift or is it a marketing attempt mixed with a thank you? And that's a personal decision. All right. So figure out what you're going to do for your PWS orders. I'm going to mix it up this year. Now in months that it is, in May, June, and July, my customer thank yous will be scent circles, large fragrance mists, or body or laundry products. They will not be things that melt because it's really hot here. So when I'm setting up my plan for 3 to 6 months, you have to take into account the weather as well. Okay. And then other categories could be anything else you want. For me, it's club. It's my club subscribers. So one of the things we're doing this year, and we did the end of last year, is every single month, my club subscribers are going to get something fun from me. And so that's where I'm going to write that, because I want to make sure it's something totally different every single month. Okay.
Can
And
I
then
ask,
Vicky asked me the other day, she said, do you have a like a pre-written postcard? No, I don't. I actually put them in the 9x5 I either put them in the holographic bags or the 9x5x3 boxes with some shred and some confetti. And then I write on the inside of that with a Sharpie, you know, thank you so much for being one of my VIPs. Enjoy your October goodies. Enjoy your January goodies. And I just heart Karen. Okay. And I'll toss my business card on the top in there. So
and you do that for every club member that you have?
I'm really working on club. Really, really, I want to create this culture that you want to be part of our Scentsy Club, because they get on my VIP page and they thank me for it. You know, and the other people are like, how do I get that?
Can
And then
you,
that person's like, oh, I'm a club subscriber, aren't you?
can
Can you
you,
post ahead of time?
Can I what?
Like, say you're
No.
sending out.
Nope.
You
Nope.
killed my dreams, Karen.
Nope. No.
Because all my people posted from my December stuff, but they posted on their own.
Right. But if, so what do
That's
I send
okay?
for club members? It varies based on the month, Barbara. So in December, I did something a little more than I normally do. In November, I sent a bar of a holiday fragrance and some confetti, and I don't remember, I did something else that was fun that was holiday-ish. In October, I did a scent circle. I'm trying to think. Oh, 1 month I did a scrub. I did scrubs for them because I had a bunch of scrubs that I got in half
Karen, are
price
you
for
doing-
free.
You're doing 200 of those a month, or
No, that's for my Scentsy Club subscribers.
oh shoot,
No,
sorry.
So we just can't post ahead of time, but they can post it.
They can
on my
post it
page.
afterwards, and you know what? People pay attention on your VIP page, and if people see it every single month, dude, you got that? How'd you get that? Well, I'm a Scentsy Club subscriber. You get this whole fear of missing out thing going on, right? It isn't about how much money you spend or what they get. It's just the excitement that they love getting something, right? In January, I've got some affirmation cards. So Steve doesn't know it yet because I'm gonna have him cut them up. But I've got these positive affirmation cards that that I included in my director gifts. And Steve hated cutting those up for them. But I'm gonna include those with my Scentsy Club. It's a new year, you know, people realign goals, all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna do, you know, that's gonna go with.
I'm sorry, Karen, somebody else is talking and I can't hear anything that you're saying.
Ask yourself, why aren't you there? Be honest. Let me see who's not muted. Everybody else is muted. Okay, so so that's, you know, I'm gonna mix it up. In December, I wanted to do something that was a little extra for them because it was December and we'd had a bang up year and we'd sold more than double what we sold last year. And my VIPs were a big part of that. My Scentsy Club members were a big part of that. And so I had a whole bunch of mini fan diffusers and holiday pods. So I sent each of them that. Now, I only had, I think in December, I had 16 or 17 subscribers. But again, I don't offer customer specials. So I had saved and budgeted that money. I also have right now, I have 12 parties of customer orders that have come in that I could close at any time. Each of them is over 500. Most of them are over 1,000. So I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars in free and half price. I'm going to redeem those all February 1st. So I'm going to have all sorts of goodies from the new catalog that I can, 12 parties worth, that I'm also looking for 12 people that want to join using part of those host rewards. But so if you know anyone, just let me know. Cause right. Just kidding. Don't let me know. But I've got I've probably got, I probably have $1,500 to $2,000 in free product that I can.
That's pretty
redeem.
smart. That's pretty damn genius. I'll say that.
Plus
for
all the
everybody.
half price items. So that's going to give me the budget to do some of these things, and it's not going to cost me anything, out of pocket. So, so that's kind of what and the reason I did those pods and those mini fan diffusers, I want my VIPs to try those. The pods are other than laundry, pods are the biggest increasing market I have. Like any pods products, and I don't mean Scentsy Go, I mean mini fan diffusers and wall diffusers show the biggest increase in sales over the past 12 months in my business. I sold a ridiculous number of them. And the more people I can get those to try, the more people that will come back in that will buy them for gifts. And a mini fan diffuser and a pod is a $25 gift. And for most people, when they're thinking birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, graduation gifts, anything like that, that's a really reasonable price point for them. So do I send that out as frequently as their subscription goes up? Yep. You subscribe monthly, you're going to get some kind of goodie from me every month. Yep. But I only ship them out once a month. So I know who's got subscriptions going out this month. And so I wait until the last subscription goes out and then they all go out. Because I'm not going to track, I sent to Julie, but I didn't send to Amy. I only do that stuff at once. And then as far as team and group, any challenges that we're doing, any race to 1K or 2K boxes, anything like that, I'm going to plan those out in advance. And I do plan those 6 months out. In July, I had everything ordered through December. In fact, Steve had a little bit of a meltdown because he was like, where the hell are we supposed to store this? I was like, the attic, right? The attic. So when you think of the sizes of some of those boxes, because some of you got them, whether they were taco boxes or promotion boxes or race to 1K or 2K boxes, that was 24 to 48 at the end, we went up to 60 of some of those boxes because so many people were earning. That's a lot of space. Like that would have taken up a couple whole rooms in our house. So some of that went to the attic. So
how do you figure out how many items and stuff that you're going to buy ahead of time, that far ahead of time?
So those I do the first 6. So like when I started doing those this fall, I did the first 24 to reach the first 20 or the first 24 to reach it. And then I was like, okay, now we're going to have to bump that to 2K because you guys are all selling machines. And then I would try and do the first 24. But then sometimes on the first day of the month, more than 24 of you would have reached 2K. And so I was like, wow, 48 of you hit 2K. Okay, we're going to do 48 of those, And so then I would go back to, I've got a lady on the island here who owns a boutique who would get some of those things wholesale for me because her business was really hit by tourism and COVID this year. So it was beneficial to her. It was beneficial to me. She had an employee who actually had a stroke and could no longer stand and work in the office. And so Lauren would put some of those things together, but that employee would also make some of those things cute. So I felt good that I was helping her and helping her employee who couldn't work in the store anymore. So I would go back to her on some of those and be like, I'm going to need to up that another 24. Can you get those things? And so there were some variances and things, right? But that was because of that. So, okay. So that's kind of how we decide what we're doing with those things. And team and group. And as far as challenges, we kind of look, I've done this enough years with team and group that I know what the ups and downs are in the business. Now this year, hypergrowth is going to make it a little different. But I know normally January is a transition month, so I wouldn't necessarily put it in there. But January, June, and July are typically slower months. Now they won't be this year because we're in hypergrowth. But I would know what it's a slower month, so we really need to focus on PRV. Or, wow, this is a transition month. And so, it won't be the case this year. It isn't a double kit to join, right? They're only getting the new stuff. They're not getting the current stuff. But I would know months that we would really kind of focus on recruiting. And so I would kind of look at trends from previous years and figure out what, this is not going to come out right, probably. What did the team need help with? I would say, what behavior did I want to see within the team? But that's not exactly right. It's more like, what does the team need help with? What should the team be focusing on? And those are what I would gear our challenges toward. If you have a team that needs help growing wider, then you're going to want to focus on team building challenges. If you are struggling, if you're a director and you're struggling to meet your 10K, then you're going to focus on team building, because the more people you have, the more, the easier it is to hit numbers, but also probably some kind of challenges that have to do with PRV, right? So you kind of want to think about those things. So that's kind of how we handle that. But we do plan and plot those. And from a leadership perspective, because I know it doesn't apply to everyone, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I'm always happy if we want to do a director level training on how I kind of plot those things out. So, and then last thing, and I'm gonna do this in 2 minutes or less. Bulk sample planning. So I've got written down on my Happy Mail planner what I'm going to focus on. And now I'm going to actually put that onto this sheet. So what do I need? If I'm going to send my club subscribers cleaning products in January, or my VIPs or whoever, then I'm going to need to sample some of those things. So I'm going to decide, what am I going to sample? At the top of the bulk sample planner, you see a whole bunch of different things: felt, rub and sniff, wax, counter clean, all-purpose cleaner, dish soap, fragrance mist, bathroom cleaner, soak, whiffs, room spray, fresh, and pet. These are all the different categories. And it's my goal to make sure that I spread what I'm offering to my customers as widely among those categories as possible. I want to expose them to as many things as I possibly can. Because as you know, if you don't use a product, then you're less likely to promote a product. So if you aren't using a pet product, say you don't have a dog, or we'll just say dog, say you don't have a dog, you're probably not promoting Freshen Up Pup, unless you're using it on your spouse or someone else, right? Or your kid, or your stinky teenage boy. But if they don't try these things, they're not going to buy them. And so my goal is to get these things into their hands. And so, for example, tomorrow, let me tell you how excited my whole family is. Yeah, Shane, don't use it on chickens. My family is super excited because we're spending 5 hours tomorrow doing bulk sampling. And I will have all my sampling done for January, February, March, and April. Okay. So, except for the scent of the month, which obviously I can't do that far out, but everything else will be done. And we are going to cover all these categories. Okay. So I will be making up my dish soap samples. We'll be making all-purpose cleaner samples. We'll be making whiff samples. I have all the supplies. And if you take the time to fill out the bulk sample planner, what sample are you making? What scent do you want to make it in? Now, there's a little discretion here. So for example, like in February, I have scent, a rub and sniff sticker sheet, scent, new fragrances. Obviously I can't fill that out till the 1st, right? And then I'm going to pray that I get my order in time on the 1st before the rub and sniff stickers sell out. And if any of you see that they're available, please message me. And then supplies, what do I need? So for washer whiff samples, we use specific tubes. So I've got that under supplies. Dish soap samples, we're going to use the sponges. Scentsy Fresh, I use a 10 milliliter spray bottles. And I know that I need the bags for each size of those. So I write this down in full detail, exactly what I need. Rub and sniff stickers, I need half. I'm going to print those on half or a third sheet of paper. So I need to know that I have enough paper to do that. So I want to make sure that I have all the supplies that I need at once. Okay, we've gone way over, and kudos to you guys who stuck with me this whole time. We will finish this out Wednesday night, and I promise it won't go an hour and a half. Because
Are you recording Wednesday night?
Am I recording?
Wednesday night.
If someone reminds me to.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, let me stop the recording.